Welcome back to another episode of Future Educators Talk. I am your co-host, Andrew Fret.
And I'm Damian Anderson.
And today we have a very special guest that will be joining us onto this episode. He was my former civics teacher at Blunt High School. He's also a coach as well at Blunt High School. But also he is the co-host of a brand new podcast called Pub Sports Talk. Um, please welcome to the podcast, the one and only Mr. Hackey.
Yes. Hello. Welcome.
Yep, he's
Audio.
connecting his audio. Just a second. So just take some time here. Into audio. Just wait a couple seconds here, a couple minutes here. Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Just got the intro out of the way. So welcome to Future Educators Talk, Mr. Hackey. Like I said, you is the coach, wrestling coach at the luxurious Blunt High School, a coach of CrossFit, also coach football as well at luxurious Blunt High School as well. And also you are a co-host as well of a brand new podcast called Pub Sports Talk. Can you tell us a little bit more about that brand new podcast?
Yeah. Basically, me and three good buddies, kind of like what you guys are doing. We just love sports. We love to have a good time. So we all got together and said, hey, let's make a podcast out of it. And so we're all former athletes. Some of us played at the collegiate level. Some of us stopped in high school, but we all played a lot of different sports. So we give our takes on it. Me being a coach, there's another guy who's a PT on there. And then two other guys have coached before as well. So it's been fun. It's something to kill the time during this crazy time we live in. And it's just been a lot of fun. We've been blessed with a couple of sponsorships and just kind of moving up in the right direction. But it's just fun. We love doing it.
All right. Absolutely. So first and foremost, I want to congratulate you on that broadcast as well. So welcome to the broadcast family. Because during this difficult time, I think many people are creating more podcasts more than ever. So
Absolutely. Exactly. I agree with you on that. So, Mr. Hackey, I want to ask you this. Since you are a teacher, what inspired you to become a teacher in the first place? Was there a person that influenced you, or just what that you would like to share with us?
That's a great question. My dad was a teacher, and he was also one of my soccer coaches when I was growing up. And so I loved everything about it. I kind of grew up in that household, and my dream is to coach as a profession. So high school seemed like the right place for me to get my foot in the door. And I love it. I love helping out the younger generations, trying to get them on the right track. And, I teach history, so it's not the most exciting subject, but if you can find a way to relate to the kids, then you're on the right path, I guess, if that makes any sense.
yeah, I as a former student, I'm gonna have to agree on to that as well. It may be boring at times, but there's times where he will turn that lesson into with fun, engaging activity. So I absolutely agree with that as well.
Yep. So, my next question to you is, what do you think of schools reopening back up? Like, how is that going for you? Is your students back in the classroom or they're virtual? How how is it, and what do you think? Should schools be open back up now since we're still in this pandemic?
Yeah, so we're in Bunt High School, Franklin County. We're doing Plan C. It's all remote, minus teachers in the building. It's been interesting. It's a lot of more hoops to jump through for teaching. Unfortunately, there's some stuff from the county and from the state that we have to do now, which kind of takes away from some of the effectiveness. But it's all in the right way of thinking. It's the state or county doesn't mean to. It's actually it's just different. I'll put it that way. It's interesting. I hate it for the kids. I know. Being a kid looking back at it, you want the interaction. You want to go to school. You want to hang out with your friends. And as a teacher, you want to see your students. You want to get engaged. I'm a hands-on guy. That's how I learned, and that's how I teach for the most part, is being actually to physically show somebody. And so it's just different, but I think it's the right call for right now. We'll evaluate in October and see if we can go to Plan B or not, which is half in, half out. It's been interesting. It's been an up and down cycle, but it's what you make of it as a teacher and as a student. If you're putting your best foot forward every day and getting things done, then you're going to make the most of it.
Absolutely. So do you think that the county will transition to Plan B, or do you want to just strictly do Plan C in October?
Yeah, your guess is good as mine on that one. I don't know what they're going to do. I fully support them either way they do it, but I think it's one of those things that if you do it, you're going to have people mad at you. If you don't do it, you're going to have another half people mad at you. There's no right answer, I don't think. So it's, as a sport, as a coach, I think Plan B is the only way we get sports fully in swing. But don't pay me to make the decision, so I don't know.
Right. I also heard that sports is also coming back as well in the fall as well. I don't know if that is 100% true or not, but what is your thoughts about sports opening up, basically coming back to life in the fall?
It's interesting, especially at the high school level. I don't think the first sports are supposed to start till late October. I got pulled up right here. Yeah, late November or early November. And that's like, and every sports has kind of switched seasons. Football's in the spring now, so the fall. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be different. I think if we're in Plan B, we can go full swing with sports. But if we're in Plan C, if we don't expect the kids to show up to school, how can we expect them to show up to a practice? So it's a little interesting.
So here's my next question for you. Since you are a teacher, an educator, why do you think that education is like so very important to teachers and so many people around the world? Why do you think that education is so important now?
Yeah, education, like, do you mean like teaching and education, or do you just mean like education in general?
Just in general.
In general. So the more you know, the better off you're going to be. And some people, it might be math equations, that type of stuff, which is awesome, especially for engineers in that style. Maybe it's just to be educated on how plumbing works, and you can make a lot of money being a really great plumber. Every walk of life, you need education, even in the coaching realm. Your lawn care, your landscapers, teachers, everybody needs education. And if you find something you're passionate about, absorb all that education in. And no matter if it's the people look down at that job, eventually, if you got everything down pat, you have all your education in, you're going to start making some serious money. And plus, you're going to do something you really love and you're passionate about.
Something that passionate about. I think that is one thing that me and Dammy and both are passionate about is about education. We are future teachers in the making. So that's why, again, we've been saying this every since in every episode is why we created this podcast, because that 2% is low, and because we want to, share our passion about, us to be teachers. So that is why we created Future Educators, because that is why. So
You guys are doing a great job. I mean, I've taught you for a while, Mr. Fret, and you've been very passionate about being teaching since I met you, and you're chasing that passion, which is awesome. So,
thank you. So, moving right along to my question here. So, what is the biggest failure that for you in the last year, and why do you think that happened?
that's a good question. Probably, I wouldn't say it's a failure. It's a learning opportunity for this whole first 9 weeks of, I can't do things like I used to. I've got to go notes with a brand new way. And so I'm still trying to figure it out on the fly. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to relate content to my kids, even though I can't be there and physically see them, keep them on track and that type of stuff. So it's been different, having to come up with different engaging activities that they can be fully engaged in at home with all the distractions at house. It's distracting for me, and I'm in a classroom by myself. So I know they're distracted with the TV in front of them, or mom or little brother running around. So it's a learning opportunity for me to try to figure out what works and what's not. The way I've used to do things, it's not the right format for this time we live in right now. So I've had to change it up.
Yeah. So this question right here just been on my mind lately, and I ask everyone this question who comes on this podcast. If you could, what is your best tip or advice that you will give to parents or educators or whoever of how can we make this world, especially now, a better place for our students to live in? Because it is just now, we're in a difficult time right now. We're still in this pandemic. So how should we make this world a better place for our students to live in? And then also for the students who are possibly like on the streets and they have no home, no safe home to go to. So what's your advice to everyone for this here?
That's an amazing question. I would say to be understanding, to be understanding, to be patient, and to try to put yourself in those other people's shoes. Like you said, I mean, there's kids out there who have all the Wi-Fi in the world, and there's kids that they have to drive to McDonald's to get Wi-Fi to get schoolwork done. The pandemic's going on, social injustice going on as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world right now, and being a teacher, you have no control of it. Being a student, you have no control over it. Being a parent. And so if everybody's understanding, everybody can be patient, and just honestly, as cheesy as it sounds, spread good vibes, spread some love around, and let's try to make this world a little bit better each and every day. And it takes time. It's not easy, but I think if every day we look to be patient and understanding, we'll get somewhere in life.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've seen many, especially on social media, where I see a whole lot of parents have to drive their kids to school Wi-Fi, and it's just ridiculous how many of those parents have to drive that far in order to use Wi-Fi. I just wish there were hotspots or Wi-Fi available to those families that don't have Wi-Fi or don't have computers at home, just so that their kids can go virtual learning or virtual school, so to speak.
Yeah, and in Franklin County, we're very blessed. We're 1-to-1 in all grade levels, so every kid has a Chromebook. The county's giving out hotspots. Now, how great they work, it's temporary. It's not perfect, but Franklin County has been very generous, and they're very blessed to be able to get that. But I mean, there's some counties that don't have it. There's some students who haven't got a chance to pick up their Chromebooks or haven't got a chance to pick up that hotspot yet. And so we're blessed, but it's not perfect as well. So
it's just a step. It's just a step in the making.
Yeah.
So my next question right here, and you kind of talked about it a little earlier. What if you could, especially now, if you could do anything to change our education system, how can we make it better? What would you possibly do? And for us, me and Andrew, for example, it's that 2% of African Black male educators. That's one problem that needs to be fixed. So what about you? What's something that could be changed in our education system?
You guys got me now?
Yeah, we have you now.
Sorry. That's my fault. I actually muted my mic. All right. Great question. I think you hit the nail on the head with the 2%. We absolutely have to get that number up. Also, I think eliminating state tests. You know, as a teacher, you feel boxed in to teach to a test instead of teach what's relevant, what's content is actually needed in life. For civics and economics, yeah, it's cool to know your Bill of Rights, but you need to for sure know that First Amendment, especially in a world like today. You know, you have the freedom of speech, you have the freedom of protest. I can't just spend a day on it. We should be able to dive into it. So I think eliminating that and some of the politics with it, you know, everybody's got an agenda, unfortunately, and people who run the education system and the government have very little education background, minus going to an Ivy League school. You know, they've never taught in a classroom. They've never been a principal before. They've never been a superintendent. So I think getting people in there who have real experience, getting away from these state tests, I think we're going to see a lot more interest in education. You'll see a lot more people going to the educational fields and to become teachers because they actually enjoy what they're learning and they want to go and return that favor and bring that joy to other people.
Absolutely. That's one of our main goals, is try to bring middle schoolers and high schoolers to be interested in the education field, you know, to come along this train, you know. So that's what we're basically doing. So
exactly. And you guys are doing a great job. You know, I've been listening on, and season 1 was great, and I'm excited to see season 2 for you guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's see, we have any questions for you. We kind of taught it all. I would say, what's the biggest surprise that you had in the last past months, and why?
Biggest surprise, I think just the amount of kids who actually miss school. You know, looking back, if you told me as a senior that, hey, you got to wake up at 9 o'clock and your classes are 45 minutes long, get your work done, and life's good, minus missing sports seasons, I've been pretty happy. But most of the kids I teach now, they just miss it. They miss that social interaction. It's something I didn't think about until afterwards they said it. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, you're right. Humans need social interaction, especially being a young teenager. You need that friend. You need to hang out in the hallway. So it's been a surprise, but a pleasant surprise that they miss it, and they're working their tails off at home. It's not perfect circumstances, but I have a lot of kids who are working extremely hard, which has been awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot different than I was in school. It's a lot different, you know, hanging out in the hallways, talking to friends, going to classes each and every day. Now it's just you're at home, and you know you have to log into the computer. You have to, logging into Zoom. You have to do all those things, but again, you still can't socialize with your friends like you used to earlier in the year, like a couple of years ago. So it's a lot different. It's a total different environment, total different vibe, I would say, in a couple of years.
Absolutely.
Well, I believe we went through basically all this question that we have for you. It's just what's you? We discussed earlier that you have a podcast. So are you currently working on any other projects now, probably going to happen into the future that you'd like to share with all of us?
No current or future projects going on. Just enjoying teaching as much as I can right now, getting ready for football and wrestling season. And every Friday we drop a new episode of Pub Sports Talk, and it's just a good way to get the mind off what's going on in the world for about an hour. And but no, guys, I appreciate you guys having me on. This has been a lot of fun. If you guys need anything else in the future, just hit me up. I'll be glad to talk to you guys.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday afternoon during this Labor Day. If you don't mind, where can people find you on social media? Yeah,
you can find me at Parker Haake at Instagram, or you can find our podcast at Pub Sports Talk on Instagram. We're also on Spotify and Anchor and Apple Podcasts as well. And then Twitter, Parker Haake as well, or Coach Haake on Twitter, I think. But yeah, feel free to hit me up, follow me, and I'll follow you back.
All right. The one and only Coach Haake. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys. You guys be blessed.
You do the same.